So, thanks a lot for being here. I'm very happy to be here, and I will talk to you today about trade union representation of white-collar workers in the manufacturing sector in Europe. These are some findings of a research project we conducted and which is still running until the end of this month, together with Industry All Europe in a tight coordination, and which is financed by the European Union. And what we wanted to do in this project was firstly to map the development of structures and working conditions of white-collar workers across Europe. Secondly, to analyze orientations of white-collar workers towards trade unions. And thirdly, to examine current practices of trade unions to organize white-collar workers. And we wanted to do that mainly in order to identify starting points for and good practices of organizing of white-collar workers in the manufacturing industry across Europe. So one of the main questions is, why are white-collar workers so important for trade unions in the manufacturing sector in the first place? And the reason is simple, because they are growing in share. As you can see here, we made, oh no, I skipped that. What we did, our methods. What we did three things. We made some secondary data analysis. We used European data sets to do so, the European Working Conditions Survey, which is organized by the European Foundation, and the European Labor Force Survey, which is data which is given by the Eurostat. And secondly, we made an own survey in 3 countries. The first one was about 8 countries. I will show them later on. Secondly, we made an own employee survey in the form of an online access survey. We originally wanted to make a telephone survey representative, but we had to skip this because, yeah, it became too expensive. So we made this online access survey in France, Finland, and Germany. Based on a questionnaire we developed with 31 questions and with about 1,000 respondents in France and Germany and more than 800 in Finland. And thirdly, we did national workshops with trade union experts, either experts of, for white-collar organizing, organizers, different experts from the unions in 8 countries, in the same 8 countries for which we made the secondary data analysis. And these workshops were more or less, I would say, half-day group interviews with from 3 to 8 experts from different unions of each country, and we talked to them about half a day and asked them several questions and brought them into discussion. So this was more a kind of group interview we did with them. Okay, so that's what we did. And so why is white-collar workers, why is they're so important for trade unions in the manufacturing sector? As I said, because they are growing in size. The share of white-collar workers has increased. This shows the share of white-collar workers in the 8 countries under scrutiny from 2011 compared to 2022. And you can see in all countries except France and Romania, in all countries, the share increased. In the case of Sweden, even tremendously, you can say, from 40% to nearly 60%. But you can say that in 5 countries, and amongst them the bigger ones like France, Germany, Sweden, also Ireland and Finland, in these countries, the share of white-collar workers is about 50% or even higher. So the old blue-collar industry in the manufacturing sector are changing towards white-collar industries. And this makes a tremendous difference for trade unions, because their traditional strongholds are in the blue-collar workers. In the blue-collar workers, expert workers on the blue-collar side, but not in the white-collar side. So in order to remain significant power, in order to remain significant power sources in the sector, trade unions have to start organizing white-collar workers more than before. And this it's also the case because the growing share in white-collar workers means a different composition of the workforce. For instance, in terms of gender. As you can see here, white-collar workers have a much higher share of female employment than blue-collar workers. So there's a kind of feminization, if you want to say that, of the workforce because of this development. And also the education level of the workers is changing. As you can see here, in the blue collar, among the blue collar workers, the secondary education level is dominant, whereas for the white-collar workers, it's the tertiary education level. So the composition is changing. The workforce becomes very different. Now I will want to give a short look at the working conditions of white-collar workers, which are in a way very ambivalent. This graph shows the opportunities white-collar workers feel to have to bring their knowledge and their skills in their work. It's about the recognition they feel they get for their work. It's about their career prospects, and it's about their engagement in their work. And as you can see, both in terms of opportunities and recognitions, the value scores quite high, and many white-collar workers are very satisfied with this. On the other hand, we've got much lower values looking at the career prospects, which is the dark blue line, or and even less the engagement in work. And in our survey, we asked several questions. Some negative statements about work and working conditions. We also asked positive statements, but it's impossible for me to show you everything in this short period of time. So I will concentrate on these negative statements. And as you can see, there are about 40% of the white-collar workers we asked in all 3 countries, which say that they would like to have more opportunities to reconcile work and private life. There are about more than 40% who say that they have to work now, today, more than they did before. There are about more than 30% who say that they are working under pressure, and more than 30% in all countries also say that they are expected to be available even outside their working times. So there are some critical issues combined with some satisfaction. And I now come to the question of orientations towards trade unions, which we ask in our own survey. And here you can see the trade union membership for the 3 countries. The red bar shows the trade union membership density, so to say. 29% of the white-collar workers we asked are union members in Germany. You can see it, about 16 in France, about 60 in Finland. This corresponds roughly to the national, very roughly to the national organizational density figures of the 3 countries. However, the figures are a little bit higher for France and Germany, which might be explained by the fact that trade unions are traditionally rather strong in the manufacturing sector, and so the shares are higher here than for the economy as a whole. However, given these figures, we also asked what the general and personal relevance of the trade union is for the respondents. And here in Germany, about 75% of the employees said trade unions have a high general relevance for me, and about 50% also said they have a high personal relevance. It's similar, this personal relevance in France and also in Finland. And what is astonishing is that in Germany and France, these values are so high, but the membership is much, much lower. So there's a real gap between the relevance, which is attributed to the trade unions, and the membership of the individuals in the trade unions. So, and in Finland, it's a little bit different. Here's a gap between the membership, which is higher than the personal relevance for the employees, which might be explained by the fact that in Finland, the trade unions are organizing the pension funds to a large degree, and it's attractive for the employees to get into a trade union, even if they think the trade union is not of personal relevance for them at the workplace. So, another question we asked was about contacts with trade unions and the satisfaction which is going along with it. And you can see that in Germany and to a higher degree in France and Finland, in Germany, only 40% of the respondents said they even had contact once to a union. In France, 50%, in Finland, 50%. And this shows that there's a lot to do for trade unions to get into contact with workers in the first place. So coming to trade unions, and what trade unions do. What do the trade unions do to organize white-collar workers? What we observed was that, the classical organizing model, the model of strategic organizing, okay, the model of strategic organizing by skilled organizers mapping workplaces and companies, looking for grievances, trying to organize conflicts, and so on. This classical model is the exemption. Among the European unions we talked with, it's clearly the exemption. We have got organizing departments of trade unions only in Germany, at the IG Metall, and in Ireland at the ZIP2. They've got organizing departments which do not care only about white-collar workers, but about very different groups of workers. So white-collar work is just one of their foci, if at all. In Sweden, we've got another model, not strategic organizing, but strategic marketing, as we labeled it. Strategic marketing means that, yeah, they really do market research among employees together with market research institutes in order to figure out what kind of products are best to sell to get employees into the trade unions. What they told us is it's like selling shoes, but we are selling membership. But it's more or less the same for them. So yeah, the main thing trade unions did, on the other hand, was workplace dialogue, to get into contact, as they said it, to get into contact with white-collar workers at the workplace. But this is a crucial and different issues from blue-collar workplace dialogue. As the trade unionists in Spain said, in order to address white-collar workers, you need a new narrative. You have to address them differently. They want more information. They want more explanation. It's another kind of discourse. And therefore, the experts also said, we have to activate the shop stewards more to do this. And we have to get more white-collar workers into the shop stewards in order to address the white-collar workers and try to attract them for the trade unions. So activation of what we call that activation of shop stewards, very important. Yeah, just 1 second. There are some other things trade unions did, giving more information via the internet, but also organizing events within the plants to reduce to make youth programs and to be present at the universities, because these white-collar workers often lack this socialization of vocational training. They are coming directly from the university to the workplace and so on. So they did, and they did different things, also trying to participate, to let employees participate in surveys and so on, different points. I can't get into details here, but come to the summary. So what are the main findings? We have the growing shares of white-collar workers in the manufacturing sector. The workforce becomes more female and higher educated with some ambivalent working conditions. And we have this potentials for organizing, raising from these working conditions, but also from the fact that only half of the workers got into contact with the trade unions, and there's this gap between positive attitudes and membership. And looking at what the trade unions do, we could find a kind of cumulative approach to organizing, with different density and different combinations for each country and each trade unions, always depending also on the financial personal resources the trade unions have. And what we can say is there's a kind of portfolio of organizing strategies, and unions can select from this portfolio what the best way might be for them. And from our point of view, my final sentence is that a dual strategy might make sense. On the one hand, to use strategic organizing to organize white spots of unionization on the one hand, and on the other hand, to develop these new forms of dialogue, activation, and participation in unionized establishments. Thanks a lot for your